Welcome back to Fire Emblem the Blazing Blade. Last time, Lyn got a blade that wasn't exactly blazing, but it's still way better than the iron sword that she had. And now, well, she's gonna use it. And also I'm getting nostalgia for Quest for Camelot after I said that stuff in the end of the last part. Hot take, that movie's not as bad as the internet says it is. It's not like, you know, a Disney classic or anything, but I have some nostalgia for it. Anyway, the secrets of her past revealed in the words of two knights of Lycia. Knights with a capital K for some reason, also it's Lycia. Now, to meet her grandfather, Lyn heads west, unaware that he's currently being poisoned and therefore she's on a ticking clock, to Lycia and to her destiny. A mountain range separates the Sakai Plains from Bern. There are many bandits lurking here, the cruelest of which are the Taliver. They wreak havoc on both Sakai and Bern, and their savagery knows no bounds. On her 10th day away from the plains, Lyn witnesses their atrocities herself. And also a Pegasus flying to us! I remember, like, that kind of getting to me, like, not getting to me, but, like, when I first played this game as a kid, I was like, oh, whoa, there's a Pegasus flying in? That's cool! Because it was kind of intriguing, because, like, that's not mentioned in the narration. It's like, who's that? Why are they flying towards us? What's gonna happen? Yep, this whole area is in ruins. Okay, so Taliver Mountain is home to a gang of vicious, ruthless bandits. They were the ones who massacred her entire tribe. Yeah, see, as you can see here, Lyn's using her, like, an emotional sprite here. Kent and Sane don't have those, but the three main leads of this game do, and as I said, I do think it adds a lot. Yeah, okay, this is one aspect where I will actually criticize this game's story, so, because this is spoilers, that doesn't happen. Ever. And they're really talking like it is going to happen. Like, I like Lyn's story, like, the way that it is, but I do feel like, it's like the Chekhov's gun thing that I was mentioning. Like, don't build up Lyn getting revenge on the Taliver bandits if you're never gonna actually show it. Speaking of bandits, though, I like that the game is playing the enemy phase battle theme here. Okay, this guy's portrait is very funny. But yeah, another thing in the list of stuff that went over my head when I was a kid and first playing this, these guys are heavily applied to be sex traffickers. Yeah. This game does go into some fairly dark territory. Not quite as dark as certain things in Sacred Stones, but still, there are some messed up things in this game. Also, yeah, this is probably the most you'll hear of this enemy phase battle theme. Wait, hang on. I'm pretty sure this is a mistranslation. I think her Pegasus is canonically a boy. I'm going to explain some world building! The game does actually mistranslate the name of Florina's Pegasus on at least one occasion, so like, I wouldn't be, surprised if it also misgendered it as well here. Yeah, Lyn's already familiar with her. See, one of the reasons why I do like Lyn's story quite a lot is it built up this small cast of characters, most of whom already have some kind of rapport with each other, or at least built up a decent one after a chapter. There's this nice dynamic going on here. And we're already establishing that Florina is extremely shy and cries a lot. This was about a decade before actually, no, a little less than a decade before Friendship is Magic started, but, like, if you know that, Florina is pretty much just Fluttershy. Like, she is almost exactly the same character. Except for this part, though, the part about her fearing men, yeah, men specifically. This is actually another difference when it comes to the tactician, because Florina will actually speak to the tactician more comfortably if they're a female. What kind of route were you taking if you didn't meet up with us until now when you were following her? It might have fallen on top of them a little bit. Well, yeah, you know, them getting mad is one thing, but them trying to sell her in retaliation is absolutely not gonna fly. Yeah. You've just given us free reign to use you for experience. We've fought bandits twice already. 3 times already. We've fought nothing but bandits this whole time. We're fine, Lyn. So, this is actually quite an interesting chapter as far as the tutorial goes. It's actually maybe one of my favorite Lyn mode maps. Because this is one of the few where the game does a little bit of a wordless tutorial. Via its map design, it shows you the advantages of certain types of classes. This is Mark. She's a disembodied voice that I talk to occasionally. She doesn't really say much, but I get a sense for what she's thinking. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Florin is a little bit more nervous if you have male Mark for this. The red roof buildings are villages. Sometimes you'll see ones that look the same but have brown roofs, and they are basically just houses but bigger. All they give you is flavor text. But the red roof villages are very important. This is actually wrong. Only brigands can destroy villages. Brigands and pirates. And thieves. So, yeah, already a bit of a knock against the tutorial. It's kind of wrong about this. For example, the enemy mercenaries and archers are not able to destroy villages. But usually, whenever there's a map with villages, you will see bandits or pirates heading towards them. And if there aren't any on the map initially, there will probably be some as reinforcements. So, we're going to select Lyn and visit this village. And oh boy, do I have a story here. I've been looking forward to this. Oh no, don't worry, we're not bandits. Do we look like bandits? Bandits in Fire Emblem are usually very ugly. It's quite noticeable. Oh my god. That spiky brown hair. This music. It's Roy! That was my actual reaction when I first played this game as a 12-year-old. I was one of those people. After playing Smash Bros... There were 2 full stops in that sentence there. After playing Smash Bros, I was constantly wondering where Roy and Marth were playing this, because to my knowledge, this was the first Fire Emblem game, and Marth's trophy did say he appeared in Fire Emblem, and in my defense, Roy's hair can kind of be misconstrued as brown in his melee model, especially on the darker TV that I was using at the time. But no, this guy's not Roy, his name is Will. And like, you know, in hindsight, he doesn't look anything like Roy, but, you know, come on, I was 12 years old. Welcome aboard, Will! Oh no, I just saw what his sprite was. So yeah, normally visiting a village gives you an item, but in this case, we get a new character. Will is an archer. He uses a bow to fight. In this game, that means he is extremely bad, for reasons that I will shortly be explaining. Bows can be fired at foes more than 1 space away. And only at foes more than 1 space away, and that's the problem. Attacking enemies up, moving next to them is called indirect combat. Yeah, when I first played this kind of surprised me because in Advance Wars, indirect combat is kind of a very special, unique thing, only available to like artillery, rockets, missiles, and battleships. Units that you don't really see that often apart from artillery, and it doesn't even prompt counterattacks in any situation, even when fighting a fellow artillery. In this game, enemies can still counterattack you if they also have a 2-range weapon. Indirect combat is just another form of regular combat, it just happens at 2 range. However, if the enemy has only 1-range weapons, there's no fear of a counterattack, and that's to our benefits. You cannot fire on adjacent spaces, and that is one of the many reasons why archers suck in this game. If someone moves next to you and attack, yeah, you are kinda screwed. Units are best suited to land assistance from the rear, which is not actually a bad tip. The thing that archers are pretty good for is chip damage. What that means is that Will, if I select him, it's me, Will, remember from that village conversation 1 minute ago? Will can attack this guy over the wall, and this is why I like the terrain being like subtly sort of like instructive, like a wordless tutorial, because the wall here is good for showing off both the 2 new classes that we have access to. Archers being able to fire over it, and Pegasus Knights, as you'll see later, being able to fly over it. But yeah, here, Will deals 9 damage to the enemy bandit here. That lowers his HP, but doesn't kill him, setting him up to be taken out by Florina so she can reap the experience. And Florina should really be reaping that experience because she's a Pegasus Knight, and Pegasus Knights are insanely powerful in this game. The ability to fly is completely ridiculous. The intended downsides are that Florina is very frail, and she has a weakness that the game will explain on the next turn. In practice, though, her frailty can be remedied with items and making her very buff by training her. And her weakness is not much of a weakness. So yeah, Florina's like Fluttershy for more reasons than one. She is one of the most overpowered things in her universe. Unleash the stare on him! I'm not going to be referencing My Little Pony that much, don't worry. It's just like, they're very similar characters to me. So yeah, 30 experience for Florina. Very important that she gets that kill because, you really want to be feeding kills to Florina. It's one of the main reasons to play Lyn mode. She becomes extremely, extremely powerful if you train her. Okay, now the game's finally telling us how to do this. But, with this, we can select Will, and find out he's from Foray, a place that we don't actually know about yet. And now, Florina. Okay, wait, okay, I'm actually going to be saving the Will and Florina bios until next turn, because of the thing that the game's going to explain to us. So we've got this archer over here, and if I leave him to his own devices, he's probably going to attack Sane or Kent. Because they don't have any 2-range weapons, so they won't be able to counterattack him. The AI is kind of operating on the same logic that I would use if I was playing, like using Will to attack enemies that can't counter him. So always bear that in mind. If you see an enemy that has a ranged weapon, and there's anybody who doesn't have a ranged weapon in that enemy's range, that enemy's AI will probably target the person without a ranged weapon. Okay, so for now, I don't really have much choice other than to move Sane up here. But here I'm going to actually make sure I manually equip the Iron Sword, just so that if the bandit comes and attacks me, I'll use that. I haven't actually explained how equipping weapons works. When you fight an enemy in combat, you will automatically equip the weapon that you just used, and you'll use that weapon if anything else attacks you. This could be very bad. For example, if somebody totally not me were to, say, have Sane attack the mercenary with the lance, forgetting that there was an axe-using bandit behind him, force me to use the lance on the enemy phase and have the bandit attack Sane, that would be bad. It's a good thing that I didn't do that, right? Right? I actually lost a character in Lyn mode, that's embarrassing, but oh well. I did that a lot in my first playthrough of this game, I'll explain that. Lyn, what should I do? There's an archer. Yeah, this is the reason why I wanted to save the archer talk until now, or the Will and Florina talk until now, because, I like this tutorial in theory. I like this tutorial a lot in theory. They really try and hammer in that Pegasus Knights are very scared of archers. They really want you to know this, and in any other Fire Emblem game, this would be absolute peak knowledge to have. Because a problem that a lot of people had playing Fire Emblem Awakening for the first time is many of them got Sumia killed in her joining map, because the game doesn't actually do a good job of explaining that Pegasus Knights are weak against bows means Pegasus Knights get exploded all over the place if they get hit by one arrow. So yeah, units that fly like Pegasus Knights, and also Wyvern Riders, are very vulnerable to bow attacks. Arrows will deal, well, not technically critical damage. I'll explain how this works after this tutorial is over. You must be extremely cautious. So yeah, there's an archer here. If he were to, say, attack Florida, the might of his iron bow would be tripled. So instead of 6, it would have 6, 12, 18. Plus his strength of 1, wow, these enemies are pathetic, would make 19 total attack power. Minus Florina's defense of 4, that would deal 15 damage to her, enough that she would definitely get killed by the other enemies attacking. Lin's Manikadi also works the same way. It's effective against infantry. What does infantry mean? It means Armor Knights and Cavaliers, the class that Kent and Sane are. Probably text-based limitations or mistranslation did that. But anyway, so this would be triple as well, to 8, 16, 24 attack, plus Lin's strength of 5 for a total of 29 attack instead of the 10 attack she has now with the Iron Sword, against things that are effective against. Or at least that's what I would be saying if this is the Japanese version. The English version nerfed the effectiveness bonus from triple attack power to double attack power. So the Iron Bow actually has 12 might, plus 1 is 13, minus Florina's defense of 4 equals 9 damage. Florina takes significantly less from that. So I get what the idea behind this was. The idea was that putting your own flyers as a first-time Fire Emblem player in range of archers is less punishing. Here's the problem though. Pegasus Knights are already a very strong class. Archers are a relatively weak class. So changing the dynamic between them only serves to make archers even worse and Pegasus Knights even better. And on that note, let's talk about Florina and Will's bios. So, a youth from Foray. We haven't actually been there yet, but guess we'll go there one day.
I'll do my part.
So, bows got nerfed in the non-Japanese versions, and lost their main niche of countering flyers. The tutorial also just explained that, being an archer, Will can only attack from 2 range, ever. He doesn't gain a new weapon type on promotion, and therefore can't counter if something attacks him in melee. This is the other problem archers suffer from. Blazing Blade is a game where you can charge a character into the middle of a horde of enemies, watch them cut them all down on the enemy phase, and gain a ton of experience. Archers can't do that, unless there's somehow a horde of enemy archers, which is not common. Combined with their low initial damage output, designed for weakening enemies for others in your army to kill, this means they don't kill things themselves often, and therefore archers end up lagging behind the rest of your army in levels, quite severely in fact. This is why archers suck, and why being one is a massive hit to your viability. But if we're talking about Will on his own merits, he does have solid strength for an archer, along with okay HP and skill, and solid growths elsewhere aside from his defenses. His base stats are also quite balanced. So ultimately, if you train him, Will have a decent mix of strength, skill, speed, and luck, while being semi-fragile. Promotion to Sniper gives him a bit of a boost, but unlike some other Fire Emblems, snipers do not have an innate critical bonus. Like everyone, Will is certainly usable if you like him. This is just one of the majority of Fire Emblems that aren't good for archers. And now, Florina, Destroyer of Worlds.
want to keep getting stronger, to do my part.
Meet the other half of why you want to play Lyn mode. Third, I guess, because Kent's insane. Anyway, it's Florina. Florina is a Pegasus Knight, and she doesn't start too impressive. Being very frail, weak against archers, though not as weak as she could be thanks to this game's localization, and not hitting very hard. But 40% is not a terrible strength growth for a Pegasus Knight, and her high speed growth and base means that she'll quickly get enough speed that being weighed down by iron lances and especially javelins isn't that much of a problem. Flying units are extremely good experience investments, because once they get powerful enough to handle enemies, you have a super strong unit that can go wherever they want. And Lyn mode doesn't just give Florina a treasure trove of experience, it also gives her two literal treasures she really appreciates. An angelic robe and an energy ring, stat boosters for HP and strength respectively. Florina is arguably the best recipient of these items, and if she does get them, she becomes a real powerhouse once she returns in Eliwood and Hector's story. An important note though, using one or both of these will cut into your funds ranking. And Lyn's funds ranking has an actual gameplay benefit, rather than just being for bragging rights like Eliwood and Hector's. So you may want to avoid using one of these items, or you might want to give the angelic robe to Lyn for more safety. But I'd argue making a super jacked Florina, that's a weird image, is worth it. On promotion to Falcon Knight, she can use swords, which, I guess it makes her better at fighting axe users, but lances are stronger in the majority of cases. Especially because javelins. Florina does take on a very different role if you lose her in Lyn mode or skip it. Her default Eliwood Hector base stats are a lot weaker and she comes a little late into the game. She'll also miss the angelic robe and energy ring. That's not to say you can't train Florina on a no Lyn playthrough, it's just a little harder, but the results are just as worth it. And even if you don't plan on training her, a Pegasus Knight is vital to have around for rescue utility, being able to pick up other allies and move them further through the map, or even over terrain they'd otherwise have difficulty crossing. And this mobility and utility is even better in the localization where they don't need to fear archers much. Florina also has an insanely fast support with Lyn once you get to Eliwood/Hector's story, though she's not going to spend much time around Lyn if played optimally. Still, it's good to know. So that's Florina. Great in Eliwood and Hector mode, absolute god in Lyn mode. So as I might have mentioned, another thing that Pegasus Knights are good at is rescuing. Florina can go ahead and rescue Lyn, and carry her up here. Normally, Lyn would have to trek all the way around here on foot just to reach these enemies, but I'll be able to drop Lyn next turn. Problem with this though is that your skill and speed are halved while carrying somebody, and that can make you vulnerable to getting doubled. Meanwhile, will just go here, and Sane's just gonna kind of stay where he is, or maybe just go a little bit back so he can get shot by the archer, because, as totally not me demonstrated earlier, I totally meant to do that, you don't really want to charge into all these enemies. Now here, Will could probably get this kill if I wanted to, but I don't really want to because I'm not really training Will. Okay, hi there, bandit. So, this might be a little inefficient when it comes to rescuing this village, but what I'd like to do here is I'm going to drop off Lyn there, and then put Florina here. Come to think of it, in the interest of moving further through this map, maybe I should actually have Will kill this guy. Rare Will kill. Lol, that rhymes. Okay, so you're done, and now we've got a couple of mercenaries and no axe wielders in range, so I can safely use my lances. So Sane's got that much. Kent's pretty close to level up. We're gonna have Kent take this guy. Oh, hey, Kent's doubling. Yeah, he might start doubling enemies before Sane does, particularly fast things like mercenaries. Okay, that could have been, like, he had a 1% crit rate, but that would have done 9 damage. I think Kent would have been relatively fine. Like, even, like, the shaft of Kent's lance is kind of red. That's okay. That's okay. And, okay, yeah, Sane can't actually get to the archer now. Because of the movement cost of the wood, something the tutorial doesn't tell you. Well, let's go ahead and equip that. I think HP-wise... Oh yeah, HP-wise is definitely fine. It would be really funny if that archer went for Will, but he's probably not going to do that. And now that I've dropped Lin in front of this guy... Yeah, I wasn't able to equip the Manikadi, though, because Lin was being held by Florina. She wasn't able to access her inventory. But she gets a level up out of that. Okay, strength is good, strength is good. People are really liking gaining resistance now. I guess they want to prove this isn't guided to actually talk about other Fire Emblems. Oh, nice dodge there. Yeah, Mercenaries have pretty good skill and speed, so they're much more likely to hit you than bandits are, so dodging one of them at this point is pretty impressive. And... Ow! I have taken half my HP in damage. I would be bloodied according to Dungeons & Dragons rules. So, I think I may have glossed over it, but the tutorial earlier said that if an enemy visits a village before you, then it will be destroyed. That's actually not entirely true. Only brigands, pirates, and thieves can destroy villages, so you only need to worry about them reaching them. Though, if there's a village on the map, you can be pretty sure that one of those three classes is going to be on the map, or at least will spawn as a reinforcement later, and will be coming for the villages, so get to the villages as quickly as possible. So yeah, we have money, and there's an armory to the south of us. Actually, that tutorial came at the perfect time. 2,000 gold's not a lot. Weapons have the strength to be used on a limited number of times. Yeah, their endurance drops. At 0, the weapon breaks and disappears from your inventory. Yeah, make sure you check your weapons. Without a weapon, your unit can't enter combat, huh? So, technically speaking, you could do this on all of your characters and be unable to finish the chapter because it's a route map if I hypothetically threw away everyone's stuff, but let's rewind and pretend that didn't happen. This is just a rare thing that I will be using the rewind for. Showing off dumb things like that. I'm honestly really surprised the tutorial even lets you, throw away your weapons. Like, they actually caught that in the Path of Radiance tutorial. But okay, that guy is down, and I would very much like... Okay, good. Sane can double the archer. And yeah, it's not disadvantaged against the sword user, so I'm going to go for the better accuracy against the archer, because, you know, even a 96 under true hit is not a certainty. It's a pretty much a certainty, but it's not quite a certainty. So okay, you're done, and now... Will is going to be my designated shopping boy, unfortunately. Let's see. Alright, this guy's just dead. Yeah, let's use the Iron Lance. The Iron Sword's going to be very useful in the next chapter. It has a lot of axe uses, so I'd rather conserve its uses. And now we have... There's a comment on the Victory is Near theme before. The Victory is Near theme in this game does sound very grand. So, all they sell here are Iron Swords and Iron Lances, and I don't think I really need any right now. Like, Sane's fine. Kent could probably use an extra Iron Sword. Lin, although he could just take Lin's, because I'm not going to be using that for the rest of the run now that I have the Manikadi. Florida... She could use an Iron Lance, but it will weigh her down a little bit. But I'm going to buy one for her anyway. So okay then, all we have left is this guy, Magal, a member of the Ganelon Bandits, with his Steel Axe, which is more powerful. It's still E-ranked though, weirdly. Normally steel weapons are D-ranked. More powerful than an Iron Axe, but it's also very inaccurate and heavy. So let's fly you over here and let's, Alright, these ruins can actually be moved over. So, yeah, this guy doesn't move though. He does actually have the chance of taking out Kent, so... I'm actually a little worried about using Lin with the Manikadi against him because I don't want to crit. I would kind of like Florinda to finish him if possible, though Lin does have special boss dialogue here. Maybe our first instance of special boss dialogue in this game. I'm going to go ahead and use the Vulnerary just so that Kent doesn't potentially get one-shotted. Okay, I don't think Lin can even reach him right now. No, she can't. Also, how does Florinda do? Does she go... She doesn't quite go boom, so we could try and do this. But yeah, let's close in a little bit, and Kent... Okay, yeah, I'm going to actually let him make the first move, just because I want to set things up for... Oh, right, in terms of my mispronunciations, I used to call Florina Florinia. Florinia. Because it sounded silly and lame like I used to think she was. Yeah, I was just a 12-year-old boy who was like, oh, Florina's just this lame little girl, of course she's... really weak and stuff. Okay, so he's down to 9. I'm pretty sure Kent and Sane, yeah, they definitely kill him. See, here's where Will's chip damage would be really useful, but Lin also kills him, especially with the Manicardi with its higher crit rate. I'm gonna go ahead and just do this just so I can show the special boss dialogue. Yeah, Lin does have different dialogue here, and she's become Navi. Yeah, this guy's like, oh hey, I'm totally better than them, because I don't kill women. I sell them into implied sexual slavery. And they fight, and he's probably gonna die, and I don't want that, because Florina needs the experience. So, if I leave her here... Okay, yeah, she'll... I shouldn't jinx it. I really shouldn't jinx this. I should not jinx this. Yeah, she has special dialogue too. Even though fighting the boss with her is insanely risky. But she obviously chose not to give herself up. She instead chose the path of stabbing him in the face. Okay, here's a slight problem. Yeah, if Florina misses this, she will, go rip, and, Vulnerary wouldn't actually save her. Like, I could just stall this out and Vulnerary her twice, but, like... let's go for it.
Take this!
There we go, it was fine. Well, we've now got a new enemy, the Ganelon Bandits. But at least Florina leveled up out of the deal. Okay, strength is good, strength is very good. No speed's a bit weird, but strength is very nice. And that's the chapter over. Like I said, this is actually one of my favorite maps in the, in Lin mode. Yet more world building here. Yeah, people say that this game has bad world building, but I really don't agree. Oh, okay, so she wasn't even in Sakai initially. She just, went there looking for Lin, and then, yeah. I mean, I would say that's a little sexist, but, I mean, she is afraid of men. I suppose... Oh, no. Oh, no. It begins. It begins. This is about the point where Kent would, like, whack him with, like, a Japanese comedy fan. With the addition of Will here, we're a fine group of soldiers, not including him. I'm so sorry, Will. Just like Lin, I think Will's a victim of the game he's in. There are other Fire Emblems where archers are good, and if he was in one of them, he might be better. Also, if this game had triple might effectiveness instead of double, he'd be a little bit better. It wouldn't save him, but it would make him marginally less awful. But yeah, now's a good time to mention, there are a lot of people who ship Lin and Florina, and also, as I may have mentioned in her bio by now, they do have an incredibly fast support. But the only reason why I don't ship Lin and Florina is there's somebody else who I ship Lin with even more, you'll... If you've been around my channel for any length of time, you know that I'm not subtle about my ships, so, you will know when the character who I ship Lin with shows up. You will know. You will very much know. More like beautiful and doesn't like you. Please stop hitting on her. No, but I have no choice to reject you. I'm so sorry. If there are any fans of Will in the comments, please just stand up and just say it, because he gets such... I feel so bad for him. I feel really, really bad for him. Like, he's a cool guy. Like, I mean, he's not really the most interesting character around, but, like, he's a cool guy. He's also taller than I expected. Like, he's, like, about as tall as Lyn, or slightly taller. I love how Ken is facepalming there, you know, as a 12-year-old back in 2000, or going on 13-year-old, going in 2004. I didn't actually know what a facepalm was at that time, but yeah. Facepalming hadn't really become, like, a common sort of meme at the time. But yes, that, ignore the fact that it was a disaster in that chapter, and it went pretty well. So I'll see you next time for my favorite tutorial in all of Lyn mode.